Sup folks, Ray Pooperton III back with another COD Zombies guide. Today I've got a guide for the Terminus main Easter egg. Completing this egg gets you the achievement No Mo Modi, a ton of legendary weapons, and high tier loot like pap crystals, wonder weapons, and ammo mods. On top of this you get a perkaholic, 5000 XP, and a bunch of essence. This guide will include loadout recommendations, setup, a detailed step-by-step guide, and a detailed breakdown of the boss fight, as well as some tips for the Dark Ops Challenge Terminal, which requires you beat the Easter egg after round 50, plus tons of other tips and tricks all along the way. Hope it helps. The name of the game for this egg is maximizing each round. The earlier in the rounds you get to the boss fight, the easier the mini bosses you have to fight off while chipping away at the boss's health are. The boss itself does not scale to round, but everything else does, and this can mean the end of your run. Much of this guide's tips and tricks are focused around that, getting set up enough so you can go in early in the rounds but not be too underpowered to finish off the boss and take out the manglers and amalgams. This is a solo friendly guide, so I must mention use your solo benefits. Pause the game and even save and quit when you need a break. This can be key for boss fights. Get your mind right before you go into battle. For your starting weapon, I recommend either the GS45 pistol, the ASG89 shotgun, or the C9 sub. All three are wall weapons in Terminus, so if you're like me and want to, no worries. If you create a build in the gunsmith, highlight it in weapon selection and press left trigger, you can set a zombie build. This will make the attachments carry over when you buy a wall weapon or pull a weapon with a zombie build out of the box. Here are my builds for both the GS45 and ASG89, my go-to loadout for this egg. Obviously you will need to level these weapons for these attachments, but it's well worth it. For tacticals, bring smoke or decoys for the bomb defusing step. For lethals, bring in Molotovs or thermo grenades for the treasure hunter mini Easter egg. And for field upgrade, if you're leveled enough, bring Ether Shroud. If not, Energy Mine works. If running co-op, have the person least likely to down rock healing aura. For gobblegums, use things that will save you money or salvage. Gums like Wall Power, Soda Fountain, On the House, Perkaholic, and Hidden Power can save you tons of resources and allow you to enter the boss fight earlier in the rounds, making it way easier to handle the horde and mini bosses. Things that boost points like double points will help too. Temporal with the insta-kill gum work great on the mini-boss Nathan in step 4. Idle Eyes and Shields Up will help with the bomb defusing step if you have trouble defusing without getting swarmed. Both of those are also great for the boss fight, so definitely ones to consider. Worth mentioning, because the Wonder Weapon egg prevents you from completing it until 9 or 10, it may be worth using the Wonder Bar Gobblegum. You have a 50-50 shot of hitting the beam smasher, allowing you to get started on the egg way earlier, which can make everything vastly easier, from Nathan to the bomb defusal to the boss fight itself. Definitely worth considering. Speaking of the boss fight, create a second Gobblegum lineup just for that. You can switch Gobblegum loadouts mid-game now, so 3 to 5 rounds before you plan to go into the boss fight, switch it up. I like to run things that help with damage per second like free fire and stock option. Cashback can help with ammo, and if running co-op, Phoenix Up and near-death experience can help keep the squad alive. There are certain augments that can be a game changer for this Easter egg, as well as just surviving zombies in Black Ops 6 in general. First and foremost, an absolute essential for solo players, Quick Revive's Equivalent Exchange Major Augment. This lets you revive up to 3 times using your perk. Simply kill an enemy and you're back up without using a self-revive. This gives you 2 downs for the boss fight instead of just the 1, which can be incredibly clutch. Also worth mentioning are the Probiotic Major Augment for Jug, which increases max health even more, as well as the Minor Augment for Ether Shroud, which gives you a second charge. Going into the bomb defuse or boss fight with 2 charges would definitely be OP, and is what I am currently working on researching. There's many Easter eggs that can help you get set up earlier in the rounds. Between perks, points, legendary weapons, and extra salvage, these mini eggs are everywhere and many are very simple to complete. These 2 get done every game for me, quick and easy money. As soon as you have the power on and are able to access the docks, take the boat out and start the Spore Easter egg, and as soon as you have access to the labs, start the Cell Easter egg. These both span 3 rounds and will get you 2 random perks for free. Add to this the Underwater Chest Easter egg and all the SAM trials, dig spots, and armory key rewards, and you can get all your perks you need for free, saving you more essence for Pack-a-Punch. Another mini egg to mention is the Mega Stuffy Egg. Super easy to get, interact with 6 stuffed animals from around the map, activate them in living quarters, and it is a pet that follows you around knocking enemies down, and more importantly, reviving you an unlimited amount of times as long as you have a self-rev. This can be huge if you're having trouble with defeating Nathan or defusing the bombs due to downs. Unfortunately, you cannot bring him into the boss fight, but nevertheless very clutch for solos and co-ops alike. If you get Melee Macchiato or are just interested in a low-risk, high-reward gamble, consider doing the Treasure Hunter Easter egg as well. When you complete it, it will give you 3 legendary guns. If you get lucky and it gives you a good weapon, such as any of the weapons on screen, it will save you a whopping 9,000 salvage. All you really need to complete it is a decent weapon and 3 Molotovs or thermo grenades. If you aren't leveled up enough for those, just keep an eye out for them from zombie drops, dig sites, and reward loot. I will eventually do guides for these mini eggs, as there is definitely some misinformation out there, but we'll be focusing on Liberty Falls main egg next, so until then just use the text guide pinned to the codzombies subreddit. I will link it in the description. Just so you can know what to hold on to when you find it, I'm going to go over what you should be working towards having to be set up for the boss straight out of the gate. Ideally, I like to shoot for a boss fight somewhere between round 12 and 15, with a minimum of a 2-plate, a double-packed orange ASG shoddy, and a single-packed blue GS45. Alternatively, you can put all your resources into your GS45 and keep the beam smasher for its slowing effects. That said, the ASG is definitely the fastest weapon for killing the boss right now. The meta may change as new guns come out, so do a quick Google of the meta if you watch this video way after release. For perks, I make sure I have Jug, Stamina Up, and Flopper, with Quick Revive being a necessity once the augment is active that lets you revive with it. Deadshot as a bonus if I can swing it once everything else is blocked. For tacticals, I like Monkeys, Decoys, or Casimirs. For Killstreak, I think the best one is the Mutant Injection. Sometimes the chopper will be in an awkward place where you can't hit the weak points, and other times you won't be quite clear of the boss's slam and it will interrupt it, wasting it. Now that we got that out of the way, let's dig into the egg steps. The first task is to get the Beam Smasher Wonder Weapon. You can get it out of the box, but it will usually cost you a ton of money that could be better spent upgrading your weapons. I suggest doing the map's free Wonder Weapon Easter egg instead. A guide will come up on screen now. Once you have the Beam Smasher, we are on to step 2. Now we need to check the 3 tentacled traps for the one with debris and a keycard underneath. There will also be scraps of lab coat coming out of the trap. You must activate the trap and continuously shoot the tentacles with the Wonder Weapon. This will eventually cause the tentacle to drop a hard drive. Pick it up carefully, noting that when crouched, the trap poses no threat. Take the hard drive back to spawn and put it in the receptacle for Peck. The hard drive will allow Peck to find Nathan and open the viewport to his enclosement. While on the way down to the labs for this, let's grab the 3-digit code we'll need for letting him out. The first number can be found nearby in the jail cell by Quick Revive. The hour hand on the clock is the first digit. The second number is in the mess hall. On a bulletin board near the center of the room will be a playing card. This is your second digit with an ace representing 1. Last number is in engineering next to the crafting bench. On the wall is a days since last injury sign containing the final digit. Now that you have your code, go down to the biolab. Go to the center of the room and interact with the pod with the keypad near the final generator for power. The viewport opens, Nathan will talk, and then you must enter the 3-digit code. Once done, the status display will change from locked to unlocked, and the mini-boss battle is next up. Make sure you are prepared going in. If you're still early in the rounds, all that's really necessary is a blue single-pack GS45, a 2-plate, and flopper. Nathan is the brother of main character Maya. Unfortunately, he's too far gone to save. He becomes a bullet sponge amalgam, so deadwire is his weakness, which is convenient since you already have it on your gun from the Wonder Weapon Easter egg. Anyways, interact with the keypad in solo to start the mini-boss battle. In co-op, each player turns a wheel. The area is locked down and many zombies spawn continuously. Having a charged ether shroud or energy mine will help, as well as insta-kills and gobblegums like stock option and free fire. A mutant injection will decimate him, but is almost overkill if you get to it early enough. Also, be careful getting too far from him during the fight. Just like regular amalgams, Nathan will eat zombies and restore health, hence the dreadful look of him.
That's what happens when you're all elbows and assholes.
Once you've put enough rounds into him, a cutscene will play and then you must grab the key card he drops in the water below his body. Now we need to get the node connectors from the shipwreck. In the side of the ship there's a giant hole. Go through and up the ladder. If co-op, note you should wait for your whole team unless equipped to do the lockdown by yourself. Once you grab a node connector off the table, the lockdown will start. Sit in the corner by the table and fire your GS45 at the ground by your feet. If you have the akimbos, fire one at a time to cover reloads. Once it is done, it will spawn a max ammo and it's time to connect those nodes. There are 3 possible locations that could be in need of a connector. Of those, 2 will be needing repair. The locations are the beach nearest the shipwreck on Crab Island across from the workbench, underneath the sea tower by the waterline, and in the sea caves on the left wall coming from the biolab. You will know you are at a place that needs repairing when zombies and manglers continuously spawn nearby. Once you repair both connections, Sam will start a dialogue and request everyone to spawn near Peck. After the dialogue is done, grab the hacking device from the receptacle you dropped the hard drive in. Directly after this hacking step is the bomb defusal step, which is arguably the hardest part of the egg besides the boss fight. To be fully prepared for this step, have 2 smoke grenades, 2 decoys, or 2 monkeys, at least a 2-plate, and a fully charged field upgrade. Have jug and stamina up, and if using the GS45, flopper. Once you are ready for the bomb step, find a boat. If co-op, make sure the person with the hacking device is present. It is not a shared item. Putter up north to the boss fight area buoy first. This will have you hitting buoys on a straight shot down the east coast, ending on the one closest to the sea tower. Once you start, you will have 2 minutes to hack all 3, so having a plan is wise. Face your boat southeast and jump into the water near the buoy. Surface and begin the hack by interacting. To avoid getting hit by the parasites, just descend into the water. You can go all the way down to the bottom without interrupting the hack. Once the hack is done, the parasites will explode. Note that if you need to hold the interact during the hack, during the bomb step, you will be able to start defusing and stop if zombies are hitting you. Then circle around and pick up where you left off. If not, if you press interact once and it locks you in, you need to change your interact settings to tap to reload if you want to be able to stop a defuse and resume it later. Next up, hit the buoy by Castle Rock Island in the east. Same deal, position away from the parasites, hack, and on to the next. The last buoy is between Crab Island and the shipwreck. Spin your boat to face sea tower, hop in the water, and hack the final satellite. After you hack the final buoy, the screen will flash white and Modi will drone on about how she's activated 3 bombs in the biolab. You will then have 5 minutes to defuse all the bombs. If the timer runs out, you guessed it, boom, game over. When the facility begins announcing the bomb, start running from here outside the mines or sea caves. This will put the trail of spawning zombies sufficiently enough behind you that you sometimes don't even need a tactical's help to finish the first defusal. When you go into a defuse, make sure you have out your best panic gun. Another of the many reasons having the GS45 for this is very nice. If you have a smoke grenade, throw it directly on the bomb. It is the most effective of all tacticals for this step as it distracts zombies the longest. A close second is the decoy. Toss it as far from the bomb as you can manage just before you get to it and go to town defusing. Remember, if all else fails, you can just let go of interact and move around the lab and resume your progress. If this is not working, pause and check your interact settings and advanced combat controls. Note that sometimes progressing a different bomb's defusal can reset progress, so if you're doing this, try and circle back and finish the first one you started to avoid this. The second bomb is on the other side of this bottom section. Throw another tactical, defuse it, and on to the last bomb. The last bomb is above melee macchiato and below the room with 2 staircases. This is where I like to use the ether shroud or the energy mine, as you have a bit more wiggle room because as soon as the bomb is defused, the enemies all disintegrate. You are done. On to the boss fight. Fully set up for an early round boss fight for me looks like this. Double packed purple or orange ASG shoddy with a single packed blue or purple GS45, flopper, jug, stam, quick revive, and dead shot for perks, with 3 boss fight geared gobblegums. The best gobblegums for this in my opinion are idolize for uninterrupted attack time on the boss, max ammo for ammo issues, and stock option to get some reload free damage per second, a mutant injection or chopper gunner kill streak, and if possible some tacticals that distract zombies. On top of all this, you should have at least a 2-plate. The boss fight consists of 3 phases. After enough damage is dealt, Patient 13 will submerge and disappear and enemies will spawn. After a few minutes, the boss will return and a max ammo with a really long timer spawns. There are 4 attacks: the slam swipe, the one where he tries to eat you, and the death beam. It's honestly best to just avoid them all behind cover, in the water, or on the walkways, but the death beam insta-kills, so definitely avoid that one. One good thing about the attacks is they also kill the other enemies. This can save you a lot of ammo. The boss's health does not scale around and will be consistent no matter what round you are on. The other enemies, however, do. This is why we want to get in early, as most of the times I've been downed in this boss fight is because an amalgam or mangler traps me or forces me into the open during slam attack. If your guns are melting those mini bosses and you have a good plan, you should be good. Most of the damage will be dealt through glowing weak spots. Hits elsewhere produce very little damage points. For much of the fight, the boss will show his weak spots only when attacking. This means you must bait an attack by standing on the platform in front of him. The best area to be is the main stage, as there is cover on either side and it has the most area to run, but you can also move around the walkway. It can be really effective to trigger an attack and weak spot and then jump in the water and go to town. On the topic of the water, it is generally a safe spot and can be a great place to go when in panic mode. Just watch out for zombies with a line of sight. They will throw their limbs at you. Also watch out for the gas tentacle that plagues the map. Know where your closest ladder is. Luckily, there are a bunch of them in all corners. Phase 1 will spawn zombies, vermin, and parasites. The weak point will spawn on either shoulder during attacks. Use cover and pop out to hit the glowing points as much as possible. If the tentacles on the perimeter of the map gas you out, time it and move to the other cover. Make use of gobblegums like stock option and free fire, and use your ether shroud to get uninterrupted attack time. Once you have dealt about a third of damage to the boss's total HP, he will submerge and you are on to phase 2. Train the area, gathering ammo and armor drops. You can also focus fire on the perimeter tentacles to make the stage less gassy. They are vulnerable to attack when they glow yellow. When phase 2 begins, you will see the first appearance of the lava rock phase, where his mouth is the weak point. Lay into his mouth, avoiding attacks, use up any ammo you got from the zombies in between phases, and then grab your max ammo. As I said, the timer is longer than a usual power-up for these phase start maxes. Next up, the weak points will be the 2 top arm tentacles. They will be glowing yellow. Light them up. Since the weak spot goes all the way around the arm, feel free to use the walkways more and shoot him from behind. Just be aware he will move if you venture too far. Once the arm weak points are destroyed, and when he's about 2/3 dead, you'll be on to Phase 3. The enemies that spawn in between Phase 2 and 3 now include manglers and amalgams. Have fun! When Phase 3 starts, Patient 13 will block off walkways, limiting the fight to the main stage. He also adds the energy beam attack to his arsenal. When he glows and a mass of energy forms, get to cover. This attack insta-downs anything not behind cover. During this attack, the weak point is the glowing eyes. When not in beam mode, he will switch back to other attack modes from previous phases. This phase is where you want to pull out all the big guns. Use chopper gunners from behind cover. If he hits you, it will cancel and waste it. Use mutant injections and fire the cannon into the weak points. Just don't go in the water, it will also cancel and waste this kill streak. Use idle eyes and ether shroud charges to get more focused attack. If you have to, use the water to avoid attacks. Once you get him down to 0, the cutscene plays and you have done it. The achievement No Mo Modi pops, and the game will ask you if you want to exit or continue on. If you continue, you will receive a bunch of legendary weapons, essence, and high tier loot. When you get out of the game, you will have access to 2 new calling cards, a new operator, plus get a bonus XP boost of 5,000. Congrats! Last thing before I go, if doing the Dark Ops Challenge Terminal, you must do the egg after round 50. That means 51 plus. Don't do it on 50. Just get up to where you can enter the boss fight and fly through the rounds spamming mutant injections. If you don't have this kill streak unlocked for purchase at the build table, I'd just wait until you've leveled up enough to attempt this. The amalgams and the manglers get very bullet spongy in the late 30s, early 40s, and it will take a very long time any other way. When you get to the boss fight, just avoid the mini-bosses and rely heavily on letting the boss take out the enemies for you. Since you had so long to prep, you should be armed to the gills. Use everything at your disposal and good luck. But that about wraps up another one. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for more Black Ops 6 zombie videos.
Peace!